Why, that's the second biggest monkey head I've ever seen!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Get Plugged, a semi-weekly podcast about gaming, media, movies, comics, whatever. Sitting with me is
What's my name, John?
Wesley Powell, and
My name is Eric Osborne.
of course, I am yours truly, John Benson, and we're sitting around my kitchen table right now, eating pizza, drinking beer, and yeah, let's just get right into it. Eric, what do you got for us?
Well, I got a lot of topics for us to launch off on. I want to talk about movies because this Friday we have one of my most anticipated releases of the summer, Iron Man 3. You guys want to go see it this weekend?
Possibly Sunday?
There is nothing that I would like more in the world than to go see Iron Man 3 with Jonathan Benson.
It's going to be hot.
Sounds
It's
awesome.
going to be a mandate.
Now that Wes has rated Iron Man 3 over Fellatio, I want to talk about it really quickly in terms of its role in the whole pantheon of Marvel films. I was one of the rare people who actually liked Iron Man 2 more than the first one. I know that I'm in the minority on that one, but I really liked the dialogue and how flippant the whole time Robert Downey Jr. was with the whole dialogue of the film. What did you guys think?
I was just talking to Wes about this earlier, but like I don't remember the second one very. But I mean,
Not a good
okay,
sign.
I saw it. To be fair, I remember seeing it in theaters, and I don't think I've seen it since. So I mean, I liked it.
Yeah.
But we were talking about how Mickey Rourke specifically was shafted.
Totally
Yeah.
shit. And he was actually really mad about that.
He
If
really
you read
developed
interviews
his
after the
character.
fact, he had like a Joker-like quality he was trying to develop in his whole method
And they
acting.
just cut it all.
And they cut it all out. It's a shame. I would love to see a new edit of that. And from the rumors that were floating about the internet, it was that Marvel higher-ups were the ones that cut it. Jon Favreau was none too pleased about the whole circumstance.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. I couldn't remember
Like who was responsible?
Yeah, what happened with all that. I'm excited for this one. I didn't like the second one so much. I don't remember it that
conflicted.
well either. Like,
Yeah, well,
I
it didn't make a
I
bad
own
impression,
it.
but if it doesn't make a good impression,
Didn't
that's
make
not
any
a good
impression at all,
sign.
right.
That's a bad sign.
Who is it who's playing the Mandarin?
Ben Kingsley.
That guy. I remember when Prince
Gandhi.
of Persia came out, and Gandhi.
Yeah.
He keeps on getting these roles.
It's weird.
That are supposedly from the Middle East or whatever, but he's not.
He's not.
And there's some controversy over that.
What were they?
Suppose-
What have you heard? I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Just that it's kind of like back in like Lawrence of Arabia days, where very white actors are playing.
we have Liz Taylor playing Cleopatra. You have
Exactly.
all these really famous Western actors, these white folks playing people of color. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, but Ben Kingsley's awesome. I put him in
Yeah.
anything.
he's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, he's gonna be
I'm-
great.
I'm excited for this one. Ben Kingsley's awesome. But I have a question. Okay, for you guys.
Go.
What did you guys think about Don Cheadle?
You know, he didn't fit in the second film.
Yeah, they didn't have the chemistry that was it Terrence
Terrence
Howard?
Malick. No, Terrence Howard.
Terrence
yeah,
Howard
Terrence Malick's
and
director.
Robert Downey Jr. had. Like, I just
His roadie, Terrence and his roadie in the first film was kind of youthful, a little bit contentious, kind of a rough but charming guy. Don Cheadle's a better actor.
he was
For
just so
sure.
dry. Like,
But
he played the
there was no
character-
charm to it.
Yeah, I was not a fan of him, and I've heard that he's a lot better in this newer one.
They actually have a reason for him to be there.
Yeah, because like in the first one, it feels like their relationship is that they're acting. I don't know if it's just the chemistry between those two actors, but it seems like they made it feel like that there's a history between them. That there's a backstory, and that maybe he's let a couple things slide for Tony and whatever. But yeah, Don Cheadle is just coming into a rough position to fill.
It is
totally
rough.
you totally don't get any of that out of Don Cheadle's Brody though. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
it,
I
it
agree.
seems like
It's a
a
different
completely
person.
different character, and that was my biggest problem, I think, with Iron Man. Well, not my biggest problem with Iron Man 2, but that was one of my issues. But why was it that Terrence Howard didn't come back. It was like
It was
Money.
pay
Wasn't it
thing.
money?
It was a money issue, straight up
Yeah.
and down. If you read the, because I'm such a dork for this kind of stuff, if you read
How
the
are they-
contract, he was actually going to make more money than Robert Downey on the sequel. It was a really weird circumstance where Marvel wrote a really bunk contract, and because he was actually at the time they were proposing the film, he was a bigger star than Downey. Downey was
That-
coming off some pretty B-sized roles before
And
Iron Man
cocaine.
popped.
That's
Coming down, bad
That's
role,
totally-
bad phrasing, man. Jesus Christ.
that's totally one of my pet peeves though with movies in general, where you have an actor and then they make a sequel or a spinoff or something, but it's played by somebody else in another one. And we could go on
See
to the
Transformers?
Avengers and talk about the Hulk, but I don't want to move on there yet.
Ruffalo was
But,
great.
Yeah, I will just leave it at that. But
Yeah.
we
I
can-
have
we
no
can
idea
talk
what you're
about-
talking about.
Well,
The Incredible
Ruffalo got
Hulk.
recast as the Hulk.
Oh.
It was
well,
Edward Norton, and
it's been someone different for all 3 appearances. I mean, it was
Yep.
Eric Bana for the original.
Who's great, but it was a terrible film.
yeah,
I like the first one.
that
We'll
wasn't-
talk about that. I would love to talk to you about that one. Actually, it's
Yeah,
a
we can-
fucking mess. But it was a very ambitious mess. I'll say that.
So-
oh boy, what a mess.
So Iron Man 3, I saw on IGN got a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, really
which
high
is-
reviewed on IGN.
It was from somebody on the UK team, which I really like those guys. Those guys are funny.
And they're
but
smart too.
They never, I never feel like they overscore or are nearly as biased as some of the American. We shouldn't talk so much about IGN, but I don't feel like they're quite.
Well,
as
we can talk about
biased.
Metacritic. I read Peter Travers. I used to read Roger Ebert, God bless his soul, every week when he released reviews for film. It has a 69 on Metacritic. It's coming in around the same review level as the previous Iron Man film, but as of this podcast, there's only 9 critics reviews from you've got.
I don't take
Hollywood.
Metacritic seriously
You don't take Metacritic seriously?
because it's a dog pile of.
I would say with
Critique.
the kids it is. But with the critics, you've got Peter Travers, you've got some really articulate writers putting really good reviews out there, and they're compiling a really good composite score. I love Metacritic because it gives you a pretty good picture of, if not how good or bad a film is, how it's being interpreted by culture as a whole, at least by some of the more sophisticated minds of
But
culture.
should it be seen through that filter? Because it's total fan service.
It can be a fan service, but it does oftentimes, more often than not, it pushes stuff to the surface that would not get notoriety. Take a look at like Beasts of the Southern Wild. You know, you've got
I
this
hated
weird.
that movie.
Okay.
Okay, but that's my opinion. I just put it out there.
You hate that. You hate that film, but you would not have seen it if there wasn't a critical groundswell behind that director.
It's just because I saw a Focus film, and then they run all those indie trailers, at the beginning.
Well, the fact that Focus exists is for critical communities. I mean,
Yeah.
they wouldn't even have
I'm a
that type of
sucker for
division
'em.
out. But again, like I said, looking forward to Iron Man 3. I got my tickets for this weekend. Me and the lady are going to go hit that up. Are there any other summer films you guys are anticipating?
Pacific Rim.
Oh yeah.
You big
Yeah, we
Guillermo
were just talking
fan?
about that.
Looks
Damn.
good. Looks really good.
The
Who-
most recent trailer is kind of what sold me. I think you said the same thing.
Yeah. I was kind of iffy when I saw the first trailer. Like
I think a lot of people were. No one's talking about it in the blogosphere, but I think it's going to pick up whenever it gets closer to release, because Guillermo is a name that does have a lot of geek cred. That's not going to sell tickets. Took at Scott Pilgrim. But if you take the fact this is a giant robot film, and you take a look at a film that looked kind of similar to me at first, the Hugh Jackman film, what was that robot punch 'em up movie he did? That thing sold like gangbusters, opened around 40 million, I think.
What I kept
I saw it.
comparing,
I can't
I
remember
saw
what
it
it's
and I
called.
couldn't
Real
not
Steel.
think of
There you go.
Transformers, and I did not like the Transformers movies.
But
That was my first thought though. But like after seeing that next trailer, the new trailer, I think it just came out recently. But
okay.
I might be wrong. But it was seeing those robots fight monsters. It's gonna be freaking awesome.
It's
like Robotech mixed with Transformers mixed with
Godzilla.
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
right. It's more Godzilla than it is Transformers, and I
Yeah.
think it's so cheap and quick and petty to just immediately say, "Oh, there's robots. That's Transformers." Like Real Steel is small, remote-controlled boxing. It's nothing to do with the idea of Transformers, and then Real Steel is ones that are like 10 times the size of a Transformer, and they're human control. I hate it when people are quick to dismiss without looking into it.
Well, that's going to be really interesting if they. if they try to sell this film to kids, or if they try to sell it to the sci-fi crowd, or if they try to sell it to the comic crowd. I don't know. I don't think there's been a really clear communication in terms of its advertising thus far. I mean, Guillermo is a great director. I have a lot of love for his films, but I don't know how they're going to sell this to the masses.
Well,
I'm
okay.
predicting a pretty small
The
opening,
lead role in that's Charlie Hunnam, right?
Nope. Idris Elba, a fantastic actor who I love, a British African American actor, African actor, I should say, African British.
I don't even know who that is.
He was one of the leads in Prometheus last year. He was also in The Wire.
Why did Prometheus get such? I don't know. People
That movie was
really ate it
terrible.
alive.
I adore. My favorite film last year.
Freaking
Favorite film.
mess. So, yeah.
Love it.
Is it because of like the lore?
The lore
or-
fucked everybody up. If you just look at it as a sci-fi film, it's very ambitious.
Oh,
But it is
so
also
it's just giving a background to the aliens and whatever.
yeah.
That's actually another one that I don't really remember. Like I tried to block that movie out of my head.
You're on your own on that one.
I was
pal.
so upset with that movie. It made no sense to me. Like I don't know. I just came out of that movie really confused. And
I liked it.
I love it. You and I
Sorry.
already got
you
that.
guys
We have
are
a
entitled to
hate-like
your
love.
opinion.
I had something to say about Pacific Rim. It'll come to me.
Well,
So
while
what-
you're
what-
thinking of that, there's a lot of other good films coming out this
Wait,
summer.
I got an interjection.
Please
interjection.
go. Please go.
Which are you more excited for?
Go.
Iron Man 3,
Or?
Star Trek Into the Darkness.
Neither.
That's you've got to. It's one of those two. That's my question.
Iron Man, without a doubt. As I may have mentioned last
I
week,
remember.
my favorite director, or favorite thing about this new film, I should say, is that Shane Black is directing. Shane Black, who did a great film with Downey called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more, with Val Kilmer. It was awesome. Really snappy dialogue, and it's the last good Val Kilmer movie I've ever seen.
I like Snappy.
It's super sharp, super witty, and you got to play with
Like Ocean's 11, Snatch, kind of snappy.
Yeah, but not
Ooh.
so pre-written.
Okay.
Very, very off the cuff, but there's some great bits of dialogue in that film. If you want to watch a film, a writer's type of movie, watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's just a classic crime film, I think.
Let me take it back for a sec.
Go.
You asked who you think Pacific Rim will be
Targeted at. Yeah, I'm really curious.
It feels a little like Independence Day to me, just because of that speech that they.
They're
plugged
selling it
in
just
the-
like the Bill Pullman speech in 1993 when they did that film.
Humanity's down.
Or 97,
and,
I should say.
And we'll come back up and defeat the monsters. and
What's the
whatever.
release date on that? Do you know?
We're looking at probably, was it mid-July, is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Which that's the heat of summer, man. It's going to be going up against a lot of really big
July
films.
too. Like that's what I was thinking. Like that's the perfect time for that.
We've got Elysium coming out.
Go
the
America.
sort of
Remind me what that
semi-sequel
is.
to District 9, Neil Blomkamp's another sci-fi film with Matt
Oh,
Damon.
Matt Damon, yeah.
Looks really fantastic. We've got, of course, your Fast and Furious, the Hangover films, which I have no interest in seeing.
I kind of like. I'm not a huge fan of the Hangover film, but I do want
I want to see how
it.
they finish it, but I
I
did
just-
not like the sequel. I
it's
sure
not-
didn't like the first one all that much either. I know I'm pretty
No,
much the minority in that one, too.
I'm with you on that. That was one of the most overrated films.
A fun film.
It
but
was fun, but
did you know it almost got nominated for Best Picture
oh god,
when they did that 10-picture thing? It was, I couldn't believe it.
I remember when that came out how
That
it
makes
was
zero sense.
such
to
a
me.
big deal. This is the
Yeah.
funniest movie you're ever gonna see, and
Yeah.
I remember thinking, this is okay.
It wasn't that funny.
Yeah, that's
Well,
like
what was the name of that director? He did some.
oh Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips did Road Trip.
Yeah,
Is that what
he
he
did
did?
Old
I thought it
School.
was actually a funnier movie.
Old School.
Old School's a
That's like
funnier
one of my
movie.
still to this day one of my
Um,
favorite movies
And
because
I know that people who actually listen to this stuff are probably just rolling over in fury with us right now, but the editing in that
The
film is
emails
weird. The
are gonna
timing
be
of that film
coming
is
in.
weird. The male lead in that movie isn't funny at all.
Bradley Cooper.
Brad Cooper, who I have a lot of love for, he's not funny in that film at all.
I don't think he was supposed to be.
Well, he wasn't the straight man. He was stealing money from little kids.
Who was the straight man?
The husband, I thought.
He wasn't in the movie. He was kidnapped in that. Like Bradley Cooper was the straight man in that movie.
I guess it
I'd
would have
say.
to be. Well, I digress. Anyway, I don't want to throw it under the bus any longer. There's actually really good films coming out this summer. We've got Elysium. We've got The Great Gatsby, Iron Man 3. Man of Steel is the one I'm most excited about.
Oh yeah.
Did you see the latest trailer for that one?
I gotta say, I have a serious problem with just the idea of Superman because he's such a good guy without any
The Boy
reason to
Scout.
be
Big blue Boy Scout.
exactly. He's
Yeah.
a Luke Skywalker. So to give a reboot, in the hands of Christopher Nolan,
And Zack Snyder, who put out
give
a
me some character, and I could
Yeah.
definitely get attached to Superman. But as of right now, it's still Superman is still stuck in what Batman used to be stuck in, like that depth of character.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Tim Burton Batman.
Have you seen the most recent trailer?
I think so.
Came out about a week ago, if that.
Oh, is it when the little kids are like, I saw what he did with the bus?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I saw it. Yeah.
I hate to be the guy talking about trailers over and over because this is not the film itself, but it seems as though, at least from this standpoint of the way they frame the film, they're trying to create like a Greek-style story where you have these god-type characters versus these human-type characters.
Hey, we know what Russell Crowe's been doing now.
Which is, right, exactly. Russell Crowe's laying on him pretty thick, but I think that's a fantastic way to approach that character because Superman is so unrelatable. He is the alien. And he's the main part of the story as well. So the Man of Steel trailer had a lot of the Nolan-esque seriousness to it, which the somber tone can scare some people off, but I think it's going to attract more than it scares away.
I can't wait.
So
It looks
Henry
fantastic.
Cavill? Is that his name?
Cavill, I think.
Cavill?
Yeah.
So he had a beard. Superman had a beard in that movie. I want to know how Superman shaves his beard.
With really, really
There's
sharp.
no way. That's got to be the strongest hair
kryptonite, duh.
alive.
It's just sharpened.
It's a fair question, actually.
I'm going to write to Zack Snyder and find out how Superman
like my answer.
shaves his face.
And when you do that, he'll just punch you in slow motion. All right.
With some...
Have you guys seen the trailer for R.I.P.D.?
No, I didn't even realize that was out
Holy cow.
I
I
don't
think
even know what you're
Ryan
talking
Reynolds
about.
may actually, possibly, I'm not sure, may actually be in a good film. It may actually be a good film. It looks like Jeff Bridges doing a cross between Rooster Cogburn from True Grit and Jeffrey Lebowski as a cowboy who's dead. And he and Ryan Reynolds are basically traveling through the underworld of life,
What?
killing creatures that don't want to go dead.
I haven't seen this.
The trailer is zany. It
It's-
reminded me of Men in Black instantly.
It's-
Had a lot of the same charm of the first film.
And it's Ryan Reynolds.
And it's
Jeff
Ryan Reynolds
Bridges.
being the straight man versus Jeff Bridges being goddamn awesome.
It's from the creator of Hellboy, right?
Is it Guillermo? I didn't know that. It's based on
Not
the
the
comic
direct-
book.
yeah, it's based on the comic book, but
No, it wasn't Mignola. It wasn't Mignola. It was somebody
I
else.
thought-
We should pause
Oh.
this right away
And
and
dig
I
it
wanna
up.
watch it.
Yeah, you know what?
We're
Fuck
gonna-
it. Pause.
we're gonna pause.
I sweated, I swear, for like 5 hours.
One time, rest ran across the
Wait.
street and got busy.
True story.
True story, bro.
And go.
Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed that trailer. It looks like a kick to me. I mean, you guys made the point. This is Men in Black. This is Hellboy. It definitely looks derivative. But I don't think anybody goes to the multiplexes from May to August for originality. They go for a good time, and it looks like a blast. That's another film I thought looked really good. What do you guys think of the trailer?
I mean, it looks super silly. It looks fun. It's definitely Men in Black. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It looks. I could only think this looks just like Men in Black, and I still kind of want to see it though. It looked funny.
Yep.
Did Jeff Bridges?
It's
Right.
Colonel
Yeah.
Sanders.
Jeff
He's
Bridges is
awesome.
Colonel Sanders.
Like-
He's awesome. I mean, I haven't seen a film he's ever been terrible.
I don't
in.
hate Ryan Reynolds. I hate
Hey, both
Green
their
Lantern,
characters are dead.
the movie. I
Never
like
saw
Green
it.
Lantern.
Didn't look good.
Don't like
It was
him as-
terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I love Green Lantern as a character. Do not like Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. But yes, that movie looks pretty good.
And you said you're pretty pumped about Star Trek Into Darkness, right?
Oh, I'm very excited. I'm more excited for that than I am.
I'm surprised, and not because it looks bad. Abrams hasn't let us down yet.
Hey,
I-
you know
But
what?
do you know anything about the story at all?
If they go into darkness, does that mean there's less lens flare?
Not with J.J. Abrams. There's no fuck.
But if there's no light,
yeah.
He'll find a way. He'll find a way for big lens flares to be on the screen.
I'm kind of surprised myself that I'm more excited
Really?
about Star Trek because I've never liked Star Trek.
then what?
Than Iron Man 3.
Really?
Yeah. I never liked
I
Star
misheard
Trek.
you.
It comes out 2 weeks later than this Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So we'll be seeing it sooner than later. We'll be able to make a call on it.
I wasn't a fan of Star Trek until the first Abrams movie came out, and I
Well, it's a Star Trek
loved
film
that
for people
movie.
that weren't Star Trek fans.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. So
Yeah.
like, you can't say that I'm a Trekkie because I like the Abrams Star Trek.
And
But
it
it did
has.
no disservice to the Trek
No.
fans either.
They did that so well. It's not a reboot. I mean, not really. The
Well,
way
it
he
didn't
handled
break the
story.
universe because it's a
Yeah,
tangential
it can
universe.
exist within
The
the
confines, yeah.
continuity of the original Star Trek.
And Eric Bana's awesome.
And Eric Bana was
Just
awesome.
like in
guess-
the Hulk.
I think really for me.
Okay, now see, before we go down that
Whoa,
road
whoa,
right
whoa,
now,
whoa, wait, I'm not done yet.
I digress.
My
Keep
my
talking.
my really, I think the reason for me why I'm not super pumped about Iron Man. I'm more pumped now seeing this last trailer that came out, but I just didn't really care for the second one. Like,
That's fair.
loved the first one, and I was really disappointed with the second one. And so I'm more excited for 3 than I.
It's super
Well,
hard to get the second one right.
Yeah,
mean,
I guess I
Unless
have
you're
a lot of
Empire Strikes Back.
expectations.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a lot of expectations for 3 for some reason, even though 2 let me down. Like,
I think the secret for getting a good sequel is
Let the bad guys win.
that's the second act of drama. You let the bad guys win. You change directors. I mean, it's easy to kill off a character. That's easy, but to really change the way the universe looks, and they did not do that with Iron Man 2. It would have been cool to see Mickey Rourke's character played up a little bit, but yeah, it is what it is.
okay, what were we going on to now? Is it Hulk?
Okay, now I'm afraid that when you make a thesis to defend the first Hulk by Ang Lee, I think that everything you're going to say, I'm going to agree with. But if you sit down and you actually watch that film, you're going to realize a non-English speaking director directed a film that could be so emotionally resonant. But the language is so goddamn awful that it's hard to sit through.
To be fair, I haven't seen it in a long time, and
It
when
does.
I did see it,
I liked it in theaters. It doesn't hold up. I watched it.
maybe
And
I
there's
should just
some
let it
great-
live in the past.
There's some great set pieces. I think the giant mutant dogs are
Yeah.
fine. That doesn't
Oh,
bother me at all.
yeah.
That bothered me, and the ending, the boss, like the
big
guy
wash,
at
the
the
big
end,
puddle.
whatever the hell that thing was, like that ruined the
Absorbing Man.
movie for me. It really did.
What's that
Like,
actor who has the
Nick
Nolte?
Nolte, who's awesome. Did you ever hear his pitch for playing Superman in 1977?
God damn it, Chewbacca.
He was supposed to be the original Superman. Did you know that?
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, 1977. He was
He-
actually being cast to be the Superman before Christopher
He
Reeve
was
got the
also
role.
almost Han Solo, wasn't he?
I don't know about
'cause-
that.
Until Christopher Reeve was just thrown into it, thrown right off.
Not exactly. Nick Nolte turned the role down, and Richard Donner went to go find somebody else. But Nick Nolte said, "I refuse to play Superman unless I can do it my way." And when Richard Donner
What a
asked him,
paralyzing role.
he
what
said,
a-
"I want to play him as a homeless schizophrenic."
what I'm thinking was Patton Oswalt saying if Nick Nolte were
Han Solo.
Han Solo. But speaking of
awesome.
going back to you were
He
talking
should be
about
Han
Superman,
Solo's dad.
Yeah.
there's a documentary about the making of
The Tim Burton Superman. I know they're
Yeah.
kickstarting it on the web right now. It looks really interesting.
Oh my god,
I
I'm
don't
interested to
want
see
that.
that because
I don't want
everything
that.
I've heard and seen about that just looks like a train
Well, it
wreck.
came out
and Nicolas
post-
Danny
Cage.
Elfman will do the soundtrack.
It
He'll
was
be like,
Tim Burton directing, right? With Nicolas Cage
Yeah,
as
and
the main,
the costume looked like,
with long hair and the widow's peak hairline. What the
but
hell,
the
John?
costume
Super
looked like
slender limbs.
the Batman costume, like with the fake muscles and stuff.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean, it
they're
was-
following the template of the Tim Burton '92 film.
It actually
bad.
kind of looked cool. If you just remove Nicolas Cage, the costume
What?
looked okay.
Nicolas Cage was supposed.
You didn't know this
Oh my
story?
god, yeah.
It was supposed to be Nick Cage.
This is a bad
It's
joke.
like a,
No,
it's
that's
a
serious.
balding
No.
Superman.
No, the crazy thing about Nick Cage is like, I'm going to get into this role. He bought like the first issue of Superman ever published. He got a Superman tattoo on his body. He started growing his long '90s style hair.
Like-
He was really.
So was
getting
that he
into
was trying to do the Superman with the mullet? Was that the whole
Uh-huh.
thing?
That was the whole thing.
What's that prison airplane movie?
Con Air.
Con Air, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got Steve Buscemi.
Here's the thing about Nicolas Cage. If you want to watch a film where a person literally loses their shit on film,
Oh, the bees!
the bees! Oh God.
They're in my mouth.
Oh God.
I did watch that recently just to see.
Just see that one scene? I just
Yeah.
YouTube that shit, man. He's crazy. I've never sat through that whole movie.
Ghost Rider.
Check out those masks.
Have you seen Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider transformation? It's hilarious. He's crazy. He's crazier than Snake's armpit, man. He's nuts. Other films coming out this summer. The Wolverine looked better. The thing about that film that was most disappointing was the original
Wolverine.
director.
Wolverine?
Yeah, the Wolverine. Well,
I hate Wolverine. He's
not a
like
huge fan, but
That is not Wolverine.
Jesus, we're not going down that road yet. It was supposed to be directed by the director of Black Swan and what's his name? He directed
I'm blanking.
Pie.
Don't look at me. That guy.
Damn it! What's his name?
He also directed The Fountain
Requiem for a Dream.
and Requiem for a
Damn
Dream.
it! What is his name?
You want to say Danny Boyle? I know what you want to say. It's not him. But anyway, he was the original screenwriter, or he co-wrote and helped produce this film, I believe, because he was actually signed on to be the original director. They changed it. The guy who did a Western with Christian Bale and Russell Crowe not too long ago. Yuma,
Not 310 to Yuma.
310 to Yuma. Same director for that film is doing The Wolverine, which is a solid film. It's just
Aronofsky.
Good.
It's not as original as Aronofsky.
There we go.
I would have loved to see Aronofsky do a comic book film from bottom to top. You know, that'd been interesting. But Wolverine, it'll probably be a solid film. It's completely devoid of a lot of the weight that comes with being an X-Men film. It's just a Wolverine film in Japan.
This is the second film, though. It's completely.
They're kind of
dedicated.
ignoring the previous one.
Right?
They're kind of ignoring it, which is good because it's bad.
Gambit was in it.
I know, but he wasn't in it enough to be warranted to watch that film.
That's true. I just don't like Wolverine.
Were you the one who told me that Disney's plan for Star Wars is to every other movie is going to be? Did we talk about that last
No,
time?
we didn't talk about it. Go ahead.
It's like it's going to be Episode 7, and then a dedicated film to like Boba Fett, and
Yep.
then Episode 8, and then a dedicated film to Han Solo, and so they're going to alternate it and stretch out the major motion pictures for not 3 more films but 6 more films.
I don't.
I don't have a source for
I don't
that.
think I said that specifically, but I have heard that they were doing one like every year and for the next
Every year?
Like 7 or 8 years.
Other year.
Every year.
Yeah,
Every-
they're trying to follow the Marvel Studios template for this type of property, and they want to annualize this property in as most ways as possible. I'm not sure if we'll get fatigue out of that. I'm looking forward
Every
to
year,
it.
I'd get tired of it.
We'll see. I mean, we're
Well,
doing Marvel
think
films
about
every
it, though,
year.
It could be like if it's
Yeah, but I'm not looking forward to Thor at all.
really. Oh, I am.
I'm kind
way-
of with him. I'll watch it, but
I'm
am I
actually more
anticipating it?
excited
Oh.
about Thor than I am Iron Man.
This is
Like,
also, but you gotta remember, I don't read comic books, so
I
I
love
don't
the
know
first
the
Thor movie.
background of these characters and whatever. So.
You're not invested in it.
Well,
right, exactly.
I just
Yeah.
like that world.
so
that
take what I say with a grain of
it's,
salt.
it's that fantasy world.
Sure.
I mean, that's what kind of appeals to me about it. The mythology and
I just don't like
the
Natalie Portman in it.
spectacle of.
She didn't bother me at all.
Asgard.
Actually, I thought she was okay.
I also love Natalie Portman.
I feel like
She's
her
lovely.
role was really.
If you're
like,
listening,
well,
will
her
you marry me?
performance. That's right, Natalie. If you're listening, he's available.
Mary West.
Last film I want to mention is World War Z. What do you guys think of the trailer so far? Negative?
I haven't seen it.
It
That's
looks
the-
like a lot of fun.
I want to see
Humans
it.
as
That's,
ants, basically. Ant zombies.
that's the one with
Brad Pitt.
Bradley Pitt.
A lot of bad rumors around reshoots and that kind of stuff, but it looks like fun.
What's the deal with scarves? Everybody's wearing scarves. I think it started with Uncharted 3.
Yeah, but no, it's actually...
and
now
bows. What's the deal with bows?
That's true too. Yeah, every
Those-
video
that
game.
Hunger Games thing, and
Yeah.
now it's in Tomb Raider and
Mhm.
Far Cry 3, which is amazing.
Avengers, Crisis. Did you say that already?
Yeah, Crisis. We talked about this.
Arrow.
I don't think so,
There's
did
a
we?
whole show devoted to a guy that shoots a bow.
Yeah, but that's because it's
We're-
it's supposed to be the Green Arrow.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But yeah. See, back on topic. We're back to comic
Bringing
book
it back
movies.
around.
See, there we go.
Bring it back around.
Segue, but that's
Did you know the founder of the Segway died riding a Segway
Off
a
the side of a
cliff
mountain. And
on his estate?
he was off the side of a mountain. He was testing out a multi-terrain type of Segway. And would, boo!
That is-
Here's the thing. I felt like the biggest jerk in the world because I thought it was kind of funny.
It is.
You're
It's-
laughing.
The whole
It's,
world
it's
thinks it's
beautiful. It's like
hysterical.
it's.
And I remember an acquaintance of ours was like, dude, that was somebody's grandfather. I'm like-
Right, of course.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well.
But what can you do but laugh?
Dude, I had somebody's
But-
grandfather
well,
drive a Segway off the side of a mountain. I thought it was kind of funny. But I'm an asshole. What can I say?
That's
just-
textbook definition of irony. I mean,
Yeah.
Tragically hilarious.
The top 10 films of last weekend were Pain and Gain,
Never heard of it.
Oblivion, 42, The Big Wedding in the Croods, followed by G.I. Joe, Scary Movie, Olympus Has Fallen, Place Beyond the Pines, and still, almost, 20 years later, Jurassic Park is making money in theaters. I thought that was a kick. Are you guys interested in seeing Pain and Gain at all?
I don't even know what that is.
That's the Michael Bay film with The Rock and Mark Wahlberg. Have
Still
you not seen the
lost.
trailers for this?
Nope.
Oh yeah.
Do we have to pause again?
No, we don't need to pause for this one. It's
That
really
one. That's not available on like the PSN, is it?
no. It just came out. It's his cheap.
Sometimes-
It's the cheapest film Michael Bay's probably ever made, except for Bad Boys 1. I mean, maybe it cost less than that. It's like a $20 million film he made. It's pulled in $20 million in its first weekend. It's
Clearly
impressive
in-
only, and it's like his art. It's Michael Bay doing his art film.
Huh.
No joke, seriously.
I cannot wait to not see that.
Well, okay, well I'll change the subject then. What do you want? What else
Minor-
you want to talk about?
What else? We haven't talked about games. Oh, I want to bring this up.
Go.
the last podcast I was talking about the Trials of Archimedes. I just want to announce that I made God of War Ascension my bitch. I beat that game
Slow clap.
on hard. I
Slowly.
did finish the Trial of Archimedes, and it was glorious, and I feel like such a man now.
But you were happy about it instead of it's not one of those victories that you gain just by trying it over and over and over, and by the end of it you're just mad and you don't feel like any satisfaction. Or was it good?
Well,
Was it like the first time you had sex, or was it like the last?
it was frustrating.
Or is it awkward and
It was
cold?
frustrating.
There we go. Have another drink, Wes.
It was frustrating, but I'm glad that I did it because I am on my way to platinuming that game.
God, you haven't got it yet?
No, I saw.
That was brutal, and I bet.
That was
For
the
your
one.
last trophy, man.
Well, that's why if I couldn't get that trophy, I wasn't gonna try for it, but I got it, so now I'm gonna get it.
Now you know.
It's gonna happen. And
PlayStation doesn't do hidden achievements.
It has hidden achievements.
It
but you can
does.
Find them
It
on
does.
Look them
Steam.
all up. See,
Yeah.
I'm a purist. I don't.
About to say they
Look
do
up
it on
things.
Infinite, Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah.
So
I've
much.
even cheated for trophies before. There was some kind of code. Oh no, I had to download a save file or something. It was some really weird code for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or something.
Oh, you're talking about the Spec Ops mode or whatever?
Yeah.
So
I
as
got,
a promotional stunt to get
no,
an achievement.
It was some sort of like hack or I don't know what
Yes,
happened,
yeah.
but I don't
It was
even
dirty
remember
pool
how
for
it
a
worked.
platinum.
But I ended up getting like all these trophies and like this. Like I just downloaded the save file, and then it gave me all these
What's the
trophies.
point?
He wants the trophy. Aren't
There-
you listening?
You're
I'm
such
not-
a trophy whore.
I am a trophy whore. My name is Wes Powell. I'm a trophy whore.
You hear that, Natalie? He's a trophy whore.
Jesus.
You'd be
Yeah.
like his trophy wife, thusly.
That's gonna get cut out later. Edit. Kink.
32 minutes in.
Are you guys gonna play Injustice: Gods Among Us at all?
I'm not excited for it. I mean,
See, and you're a DC guy. You were really
no,
pumped
I'm
up
a Marvel
about.
guy. Marvel guy.
Well, you like the DC
I like
stuff.
DC,
You were
yeah,
the
yeah.
DC One stuff. You were really into for a bit there.
Yeah. Well, for me, the biggest turnoff is the art style of that game.
The Mortal Kombat
I
art
hear,
style.
I hear it's like I've heard good things about it, but to me, it just looks crappy.
It didn't bother me at all.
I hate how they made Aquaman look like a chode.
He is a chode.
Thank
no, he's
you.
not. I love Aquaman. There's not. I don't know. I'm not a big Mortal Kombat guy.
You know,
Aquaman
I wasn't
probably.
either, but I bought Mortal Kombat on my Vita for a discount. That game is a blast. It has the best story mode of any fighting game I've ever had. It's a fantastic story mode. And it's campy, it's over the top, but it actually has a narrative really tightly
That's what
woven
I've
in the
been
story.
hearing.
It's amazing. It's really impressive they even tried to do that.
The only superhero game I can recall ever getting into was Spider-Man 2, and it was
Oh,
a
that
free
was
roamer,
good,
and it
yeah.
was awesome.
Made
That
by
game-
Neversoft.
Swing around, yeah.
Yeah, that was their pre-Tony Hawk game. They made the Tony Hawk
So
engine
cool.
off of the Spider-Man.
And they had Tobey Maguire doing voiceover.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like,
And-
stop
Oh, you're
that.
talking about the Spider-Man 2 movie or Spider-Man 2 for PS1?
I'm talking about the movie.
Spider-Man
that was
2
the free
for
roamer.
Xbox and
Oh, okay.
PS2.
Well, then, yeah,
and-
you guys are. I'm on a different Spider-Man. I thought you were talking about the old Neversoft game. Spider-Man 2 for the movie was fun too, though.
No, it was like Grand Theft Auto meets Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was awesome. That game was a lot of fun.
Are you guys ever going to pick up a 3DS? You think?
No.
No.
Nope, not interested. Huh?
What about you, Eric?
Why?
I keeps popping up. 3DS is selling pretty well in the States after a really slow start. Luigi's Mansion was number 3 on the bestseller list for the month of April. But I don't think I'm ever going to play a 3DS.
Okay.
I don't like the gimmick. I don't like the graphics. As far as portals would go, it doesn't impress me. But as far as portable goes, it looks like it's going to be the front runner for the rest of this generation.
Well, at least Nintendo has something going for it.
They sure don't have it with a Wii U.
Okay, there are 2 games that I really want to play on the 3DS, but they're not enough to make me buy it. I want
Can
to
I
play.
guess?
You can.
Resident Evil Mercenaries.
And
Revelations, I think.
Revelations.
Fire Emblem.
Eric is right.
And I would say Luigi's Mansion.
Ooh, I forgot about that one. That one I wouldn't mind.
Because you're a
playing.
big GameCube guy. It's a sequel
Yeah,
to that game. It's
well, I
even
never
better.
played the first one though.
Oh, really?
You didn't? That's amazing.
Yeah, it
It's
looked
really
cool, and
short.
It looked
So
like
much
something I'd
fun.
like, but the other game is Kid Icarus Uprising.
Well, I mean, like I said, that's the only way you're going to play it. They're
Because-
not porting it to the Wii
And
U.
I loved the. I still have Kid Icarus on my Game Boy, like my original 1980s whatever Game
Sure.
Boy with the black and white screen. I loved that game, but it was a side scroller. I would have rather them just kind of given it an updated graphic, like a graphic overhaul, kind of make it
Sure.
look like the new Mario games.
Sure.
But they changed it so much that it doesn't look like a Kid Icarus game.
Now, you beat Bioshock Infinite.
Yes.
You haven't played it yet. I beat it.
What's wrong with you?
God of War.
Oh yeah, no. That's okay.
When we get past that.
But since I've been watching Game of Thrones, that made me want to play God of War even more. It's just like,
Because the characters are so compelling.
well, there's so much blood and gore and
Gratuitous nudity, yes.
well, like heads getting chopped off and this sort of thing in both Game of Thrones and God of War. Sorry, I interrupted. What were you saying?
No, I was just going to say that I was looking at the, I think it's MPD numbers for Bioshock Infinite. It sold total on Xbox 360. This is the cumulative sales total of 637,000 copies. It hasn't even crossed the million mark. It's been out for 4 weeks, and it hasn't crossed a million copies on Xbox. This is rumored to be the most expensive video game ever in history. Some of the high-end estimations for the game's development are over $200 million. That dwarfs Gears of War and Halo 4 in terms of development costs. The game took 5 years to make and still hasn't
Judgment?
crossed. Yeah, no, any of them. It
Why?
dwarfs. Why did it cost so much, or
Yeah.
why?
What was so
Because
special
because
about
they
it?
developed the game for 5 years with a team that ran completely independent of its financier, and it's a completely original IP, and so it took a lot of time to develop a lot of resources for. It's really
That's
interesting.
Unfortunate. I mean,
Here's the thing: it was the bestseller when it came out. It's week, but during the month of April, and it's just 4 weeks in, it's the number 6 seller, and it's going to be really interesting to see if Ken Levine can even pull off another situation where he develops a major IP like this in the near future. Because with the way console games cost so much to develop for, 600,000 copies is what it should have moved in its first month.
Do you think it could
Yeah,
have
first
anything to
week,
do
rather.
with it being this close to the end of a console generation?
I
that
do.
People are kind of
It
saving
may.
their money and wanting
It
to.
may, but it doesn't change the
that
fact that this
PlayStation 4.
happened. And if a developer like Take-Two doesn't put money behind a Levine-style joint, like, you may not see another game like this for 10 years. It's a very interesting circumstance because they take a long time to develop, and who's going to put that kind of money into something like that? I think games have got to get cheaper to make. Ironically enough, here's the other end of the spectrum. Black Ops 2 on 360 came in at number 7 this month at 7 million copies almost total sold on
it's
Xbox
still in the
alone.
top 10.
Still in the top 10.
Wow.
Halo 4, one of your favorites right there, came in at about 5 million total. It sold about 20,000 copies. And Defiance, have you guys seen any stories on that game thus far?
That's the one that's
The
like a
TV
tie-in.
show and
Yeah.
an online RPG. Interesting premise.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't really know much about it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only heard what IGN's been saying, and how it's ushering in the people who, have stayed on consoles for their gaming preference, and it's ushering in the idea of an MMORPG, and so it's kind of like baby's first MMO.
I would think that's probably not a bad way of looking at it. It's getting a fairly mediocre review on Metacritic. I think it came around the 50s overall, which isn't a good way to start an MMO, especially when one that costs as much to start up did. I was just really interested in watching the show. Have you guys seen any of the pilot episodes?
No, not even gonna
Really
bother.
curious to see it. I mean, it's probably got a really bad B-movie vibe to it. It kind of reminded me of that old sci-fi show on used to be on the Sci-Fi Channel where they had puppets as main characters. It looked that bad. But I was just kind of curious about it. I wasn't sure if you guys had seen any parts of that game at all.
No. Do you have anything in there about sales figures for Guacamelee?
Didn't even clock in the top 10, but that's not
I didn't think
that's
so.
not anticipated
I
to.
wouldn't think so, but that game, that's a good one. If you
I've got it on my Vita. Haven't played it yet.
I have it. Yeah, it's cross-buy,
Cross play.
cross save, cross everything. So it's
Have
definitely.
you beat it
worth-
yet?
I haven't beat it yet. I'm probably halfway through it. That's kind of what I've been playing when I'm not playing God of War. But
Is the character very compelling? He doesn't look compelling to me. The idea of what do you call him? A Mexican fighter, wrestler.
I mean,
Doesn't really interest
Oh, a
me.
luchador.
Luchador, thank you.
No, he's not the most compelling character. There's no voice acting. It's like it's like playing an old school
Well, yeah,
Castlevania.
honestly, I kept thinking
Metroid.
about the Castlevania is what I compared
Yeah,
it to.
and if you like those kind of side-scrolling games,
I do.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for great story, it's not the best, but I will say this: they pay a lot of like homage to pop culture.
Oh, cool.
Just like running around and you'll see like a billboard with the Mario Brothers on it, or I mean, there's little Easter eggs like that throughout the entire game.
Well, that sounds. I mean, I kept thinking about
but
how
it's-
I've been wanting to play Symphony of the Night again. I haven't played Symphony since PlayStation 1 days.
I've never played that one.
It's fantastic. It's one of the top 10 games of the PlayStation generation. Really, it's
The
a
last
really good game.
Castlevania game I played was on Super Nintendo.
Oh, so you play Castlevania 4? I take it. Is that Simon's?
Seems like it had a name, like a castle of
Had it-
something.
well, yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but
There's some good ones on that Super Nintendo. That's where it really got great,
Yeah.
actually.
yeah, I liked them. That was one of the games I remember renting. I don't remember specifically which title it was, but it was a Castlevania game and F-Zero.
We've been talking about God of War and Infinite. What have you been playing lately, John?
I mean, I haven't really touched games this week. I mean, where I left off last was Dead Space. But before that, I was playing Far Cry 3, and that game is a lot of fun. I haven't beat it yet.
We've got to talk about Blood Dragon.
Oh yeah,
We've got to
the
talk about
super
it.
crazy '80s standalone. Yeah, I mean, it looks ridiculous, and from what I understand, it doesn't use the same leveling system or like gather this to
Really?
make this pouch or whatever. It's just when you level, you get like these preset upgrade this, upgrade that, kind of like the tattoos, but or tatao, whatever. That threw me off. But yeah, okay. My only thing is that I know it's just a reskin, and
A pretty fantastic looking reskin, too.
Yeah.
It came out Tuesday, I guess April 29th.
I had no
Um,
idea.
Yeah, so yesterday. It looks awesome. And I know you're not
I
a
mean,
kid of the
are you
80s
gonna
like
get
Wes
it?
and I. Oh, absolutely. I'm probably going to buy that before I even buy Far Cry 3. I'm still catching up on my last Christmas purchases, but in Far Cry, and that was at the top of my list. I think I'm actually going to play Blood Dragon first, see what I think of the gameplay.
Completely unrelated, so it won't do anything.
But yeah, I want to affect the story. I hear the story is really cool in Far Cry 3, though.
I hear there's a lot of bow and arrow action.
I'm fine with that.
That's the
I
first
have no
weapon I
trouble with
bought in Far Cry 3. It was a bow because I don't know, like they're everywhere, but it's a
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider made
Crisis.
me really love a
Arrow.
bow.
Yeah, I think we covered this.
So I mean, I guess I've just been conditioned to that was the first thing because you're just so darn stealthy. Like it's fun to sneak up on stuff.
Well, that's my favorite thing about Crysis 2 is you can totally play the game any way that suits your personality. And I'm always the sniper. I'm always the guy in the shadows. I'm always the guy who's silent. I'm the biggest Metal Gear fan in the world, so...
I feel like I've painted myself into a corner because like in Borderlands, I didn't even think about trying out the other classes.
Who'd you start with?
Well, like Borderlands 1, I was Hunter, so was Mordecai, and then in 2, the Assassin, so Zero.
Yep.
But I was just like, well, here's my choices. I know exactly.
I don't
what
know
I'm
a
gonna
single
go
person
do.
who was the bruiser in that game. I have no idea who's actually playing as the weapons-
Berserker.
Berserker,
He's
yeah.
really funny.
Is he?
I mean, just for his character alone was worth trying out a new character. Like just
Okay.
leveling up a little bit, like just until you get Berserker mode. He's really, really funny.
Well, awesome. Yeah, Borderlands 2 is a kick. At first, I was kind of confused by the gameplay in that one because
Did you play the first one?
no, I was
See.
a complete newbie to the Borderlands series. Do you think that I shortchanged myself on that?
You didn't shortchange yourself, but the second one is fixing everything that they didn't do either right or just didn't completely get there.
So I don't
Like,
really need to go back to
The,
that
sense
one.
the
of
first one was
humor.
available for free if you're a Plus.
I'm not a PlayStation Plus subscriber back that far.
Uh,
You can't just, it's not retroactive, so.
yeah, I have that one.
Yeah.
you could think of the first one as a prequel, basically.
But the
I wouldn't
second game is so
consider
huge, I don't know when in the world I'd go back to it. It's so big. That game is huge.
the first one is.
That's what she said.
yeah.
John knows what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna
You
let
hear
that
that,
one die.
Natalie?
Why does Natalie keep coming up? what is this song?
So basically, you get a recording, you throw your man under the bus.
Yes.
Yes, that's what happened.
The first one's, I think it's just as big as the second one, but it's so barren.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you just walk through huge spaces where there's nothing, and then you get to the next.
It took me a while to get used to how multiplayer worked in that game because I'm so used to. We just finished Dead Space 3 together, Wes and I did, and it's like your characters are totally intertwined into the narrative and the story. When you have a character, is vastly different than when you don't have a character supporting you out there. But with Borderlands, it's almost like the old coin-operated arcade games where somebody can drop in and drop out at any time. And it has no effect on how you play the game.
You're just a little band of mercenaries.
And it's a lot of fun. If you kind of take that gauntlet perspective to it, it's fun to look at like that, but it took me a while to get over it.
Super goofy.
Yeah.
Not supposed to take anything seriously.
There's another game that just came out recently that I think takes advantage of a system like that. And I was going to ask you about it. I keep meaning to see if you're curious or going to play.
It is called...
Give me a second. Soul Sacrifice.
Oh, absolutely.
For the PlayStation Vita.
Because one of the things about the Vita is that it isn't, first of all, it's not got a lot of compelling software coming down the pipe until fall. But as a Monster Hunter style game, which I'm not a huge Monster Hunter fan by any margin either, but as a Monster Hunter style game,
could you define a Monster Hunter?
Where the game is primarily composed of boss battles, your character versus a boss. That's really how it's framed.
So God of War 3.
Well, kind of like God of War
No,
3 had that kind of same framework.
But it's
if
like
you played
an
Metal
RPG.
Gear Peace Walker, did you play Peace Walker?
Man, I
Yeah,
haven't played
I
either.
I would say half that game is boss battles. You've got a lot of these things where you go through different maps, but the other half of the game is nothing but you taking on a tank or you taking on a giant
isn't there
robot.
like a lot of like grinding and leveling up?
Absolutely, and that's what
So
Soul
it's-
Sacrifice is.
No, I mean in Monster Hunter.
Yeah, they're very, very similar. The only difference that I can tell from the outset is that Soul Sacrifice on the Vita has a much more well-developed narrative they're trying to put in the game. That's what I've seen from previews anyway. Monster Hunter really doesn't put much credence to that kind of stuff.
I'm really curious. I want to buy it.
I wish it wasn't a $40 download. It needs to be a demo. Hopefully there'll be a demo this week or next week to try it out.
There's a demo out.
Oh, really? I overlooked it? Well, shoot.
They didn't actually announce it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But I know one came out, and I haven't played it yet.
Price has been really prohibitive for the type of people I think that would buy a Vita. $40 games are too expensive. It's unfortunate because the games are worth. Uncharted is worth $40. It is.
Was it 39 or 49?
It was actually probably 49.
Because there were two. The most expensive games on Vita were Uncharted and the
Black
Call
Ops.
of Duty, which was a terrible.
It was terrible, but
game.
the games are worth it. They cost that much to develop, but I think that there's a mindset right now that people won't pay $40 for a portable game. They won't do it.
Which it's true. It's like it's
That's
a
fair.
mindset, but it's also that is a handheld console. Like that's a
And
you're
it's
getting
great.
a console quality
handheld
experience.
That's how PlayStation's trying to redefine the handheld.
And they're
market.
not doing a great job because
They're-
they're putting the games out there, but no one's buying.
Yeah,
It's a shame.
which sucks.
Hopefully it lasts a few more years because it's the best handheld I've ever had.
Oh, it
I mean,
will.
they're
They'll-
obviously going to push hard for
For
the
the 4.
PS4, so we're
That's-
not seeing it go away anytime soon.
I think that's going to be kind of our saving grace if we have one. It will be the PlayStation 4.
It's a shame though because you're still gonna be chained to your household. You have to be within Wi-Fi to use it. The coolest thing about it is like, they talk about how Nier is confusing among the press. Nier is confusing, but I've started using it a lot lately with games like Treasure.
I still don't even know what Nier is for.
Like I drop people different puzzles and stuff through my puzzle games.
I
on
get
Nier
gifts all the time.
Yeah, I
and I'm like,
downloaded different carts for Mod Nation Racers, that kind of stuff. It's fun.
I have a homework assignment for us. There's a free game
Cool.
on Steam right now
Called.
Passports Please, and it's a green light project. It's in beta, and any computer can run it. It's totally bare minimum. It looks like
Is it Mac compatible?
probably, I would hope so. It looks like an old NES game or Super NES, but basically, you
The
are
cover to
like-
cover story of the Bible.
No.
That's the first thing that came up on Google. Please go.
Is it called Boy, I hope I have the right name. I thought it was called Papers, not Passports.
Papers, please. Oh my God, that sourced out.
Yeah, that wouldn't help. But you're like on the border of this little country that's going through sort of a war with terrorism. So it's very 16-bitty looking, but you'll get someone's passport, and you have to like compare their face to the passport, and maybe like they'll have a scar on their face that some differences from their passport, and you have to like talk to the person and see if they're lying about, ask them, why do you look different, or this, your card is cleared for only a couple of days, but you say you're staying here for a month. Like, so you have to filter these people through, and like things will change. That like security levels will change, or what you should look out for this week for certain suspicious people. So
This looks like fun. I'm looking at some of the screenshots you have online. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a thinking man's type of game.
right. So if you want like just a quick puzzle game,
That would make such a good portable experience. I think Sony's doing a really smart thing by encouraging a lot of these Steam-like proposals with their independent community. They're getting more independent games than they are getting major publisher games on the Vita, because I guess they're cheaper to develop for, and Sony's made it really easy for a lot of developers to get out there and get
that was
involved.
their big push for
And
the
they're
press
looking for
conference.
they're looking for the next Angry Birds. They're looking for the next Hotline Miami, that kind of stuff.
But to be exclusive on their device.
Exactly. Which, I mean, maybe it's smart. I hope it is.
But you can't charge $40 for Angry Birds.
Nope.
It'd have to be
Well, they're never gonna have.
$10.
They're never gonna
They
have
charge $34 at
any
Walmart
Birds.
That's like every Angry Birds ever, right?
on the disc. Yeah, $30 though. You can get them all for like less than $7,
Or
but
you
charge
can
for
for
30 at
free,
Walmart.
if you're okay with ads.
Yeah.
They're never going to have their Angry Birds, though. They don't have the install base to make the kind of numbers that Angry Birds does.
You'd be correct. Yeah.
That's an interesting point. I didn't even think, like you brought it back to handheld though, about Papers, Please. Like I wasn't even thinking about that being, that would do really well if it were on handheld. But again, it's free at this point. So, but yeah, we all got to try out that game. I just saw the site for it.
I can download it on Steam or something. Like, what is
Is it through Steam, or can you get it just from their site?
I think it's.
Can I play it on a Mac?
Yes.
Okay.
It says here that's Mac compatible from what I can see. It's from the Greenlight section of Steam's webpage from what I'm looking at here, which I didn't know. It shows my ignorance. I didn't know that was games that are playable yet. I thought it was something that you had to source fund, but it is playable.
Yep.
Fantastic. Looks great. Very cool.
I've been meaning to try it out. I only just heard about it yesterday, actually. Anthony Gallegos was just going on about it, so I figured I'd give it a whirl.
Well, fantastic. Well, is now a good time to make a segue to movies, or you want to keep going on games? Or music, I should say, not movies.
Either, depending on how much longer we want to go. Do we want to take a break, or do we want to keep on?
Well, how much time we got going so far?
It's almost an hour.
Oh, we're doing pretty well. Doing
So
pretty
do
well.
we take a break or keep going?
Let's take a break and come back to some musics.
Let's take a break. We
Cool.
love you all.
Let's
We're
talk
back,
about
you
music. Yeah.
sexy ladies and gents. And okay, so Eric wants to talk about the yeahs, and I don't know why, but
Yeah, we should.
yeah.
Jesus.
Sorry,
We
I
went
had
there.
to do it.
The reason I bring them up is because I saw them. I was walking down the aisle of a retail outlet recently, and I saw them. They had a new record come out, and I haven't thought about them in almost 10 years, really. The top 10 records for like this week were Fall Out Boy, Kid Cudi, I don't know how to say his
Cudi,
name.
yeah.
Cudi, Justin Timberlake, which we talked about before, Blake Shelton, Welcome to the Midwest. And Yeahs had one of the top 5 albums for sale on the Billboard Top 200. And I was really surprised because, I do have a lot of like nostalgic love for songs like Maps, and that whole record really was pretty fun. Are they even close to relevant now? I mean, how'd they end up pulling at number 5?
What I want to know is how do they feel about it? Because remember, like MGMT, in an interview, their lead was talking about how they never intended to get big or go mainstream, or like just end up in the mainstream, I should say. Have you heard anything about that?
I don't
Some
know
bands
much
don't
about
like
that
that.
band. But again, Yeahs. They're the scrappy New York kids who were huge on the indie scene, and Karen O was the voice of a new female generation. And guys, writers for Rolling Stone and Spin and Pitchfork tout these as the next voice of a of a great rock and roll generation coming up. And while that was definitely a lot of hyperbole, the fact that they opened up last week with a top 10 selling record at a time when, selling records really mean something, it's an impressive feat, especially from a band that truly only has one single in their history that's going to really last any period of time, I think.
I honestly couldn't pick out a yes.
Well, you couldn't think so with her voice. She has such a
I
distinctive
have no idea
tenor.
what they sound like. Like I'm sure I've heard them, and it's just one of those bands that's like, oh, who's this? And
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
know.
whoever.
I,
Yeah,
I
I can
wouldn't
do that
know.
shit too,
But
motherfucker.
The other day I was listening to so after 7 o'clock NPR turns into like hipster indie radio.
Yeah.
So it was on that particular day it was these guys who only play like record LPs, and they were softly talking on about, and this next record I consider to be one of the top 5 songs of the decade.
Yeah, right.
The defining of music. I'm thinking, okay, so you of such your wealth and knowledge of, I'm assuming this guy is well-rounded, radio DJ. He's heard a lot of music, far more than I've heard, and he's gonna blow my mind with like, oh, that is definitely one for the ages.
This is the Hey Jude of our generation. Go.
Maps. And I wanted to throw. I was in the car and I just started screaming at the radio.
So
How do you
you wouldn't even
discount-
bring it up in the conversation. I think it's totally a hipster thing to say.
Yeah.
It's totally like cooler than now thing to say that the yeah is one of the greatest songs of all time. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But what else would fit in that role? In the context of the
I don't know, maybe
conversation
a
talking
song
about-
that like stirs the human spirit and inspires something, but not, just the melancholia of the is not, it's
It sounded like a late '90s song released in 2004, 2005, whenever it came out, like a grunge holdover. It's a great pop song. It really is a great pop song. I mean, they broke them out, but
really like it's just that this guy put it in the frame of like top 5 songs of the decade, and okay, that's his taste, that's his preference,
Sure.
whatever, but I was just putting a little bit more trust that maybe this guy would.
well, what was some of the other stuff he offered?
I tuned out after that.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. No, I can't of mainstream rock and roll, the stuff that really broke through. I wouldn't hesitate to put in the top 10 songs, but top 10 bands, I think it's pretty far from it. They really haven't. Again, they're the scrappy New York kids, like I said, but I can't really imagine them having a lasting imprint on a new generation of 11 and 12-year-old girls or guys that are really into rock and roll. I don't know that. I think they're going to sound really dated really quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the difference between dated and just belonging in a certain time? And it's like, oh, that takes me back to X date.
That's true. I mean, like, listen to The Cure or The Smiths or those kind of bands. They're
Right.
great bands, but they're definitely of their time. And they're great
So
bands.
does that mean they don't hold up, or they just like they're not timeless?
The
I'm
best way
confused.
I know how to describe dated in terms of my semantics is this. I asked my students why they didn't use Facebook. And they said, oh, well, because we're on Instagram. I said, well, why not Facebook? Instagram does this, all the same stuff as Facebook. Facebook can do more. And they go, oh, well, that's what my parents are on. My parents use Facebook. Why would I use that? And
So
Instagram, or not Instagram, but rather the yeahs, I mean,
are starting to belong to someone else.
someone
now?
else's generation. I think so.
Interesting.
So okay, like the Beatles, would you say they're timeless?
If any band ever was,
But they sound dated. Like, I would definitely listen to that band, and I would
you
know.
could pinpoint the decade pretty easily.
Well, I would know they're not recent.
Sure.
I mean, I would.
Has enough time gone by that like the generation that owned the Beatles has passed and that now doesn't belong to them anymore?
That's what timeless, I think, really means is that you don't have to necessarily tie a generation to that type of music anymore.
But even with that, like the methods of recording albums, and that's
lot more high
changed
fidelity,
so much now that dates.
But there's a
the music that
simplicity
you're
to their
hearing.
songs that does make it timeless. Because like there's a simplicity to the way they were recording, and how some of those techniques are still used today.
Like, okay,
That I think it makes it non-generational.
back to my point of, or like why I was so disappointed that the cat is scratching at the door of Maps not deserving to be called a defining or like one of the best songs of its decade is that like it doesn't move me at all. That song lyrically just doesn't go anywhere. But something
It's simple.
Like,
It's simple, but simple
like,
sometimes good.
I don't know. Take Hey Jude, where it's something that every person struggles with, or just trying to get up the courage to get a girl, and
you don't think Maps does that very thing? It's simple. It's
maybe I haven't listened to it well enough. I don't know. Wait,
yeah.
to love you like I do.
Keep going.
That's all I know.
We're gonna have to start paying money if you keep singing.
Oh, God, I didn't think about that.
I'm just kidding. I don't think
You have to go a long time.
You'd actually have to play a clip.
Yeah.
From,
Well, there you go.
I was kidding.
She says say it quite a few times, over and over, or something like that.
Yeah.
So here's kind of a switch of topic, but
Go.
still on music. So the Norman Music Festival was last weekend.
That's we're bringing some music and Oklahoma stories simultaneously. What did you guys think of it?
Well, I had a great time. For those of you who don't know, it's a music festival in Oklahoma.
In Norman,
Oklahoma. For all of you international
A free music festival
listeners.
Well, the last
yeah, it's
few.
free. It's
Good free music
They
festivals out
basically
there.
block off a couple blocks of.
I would say probably 3 or 4 blocks in the Norman off of Main Street.
Yeah, it's a great time. They just have like, just several stages throughout this block. It's all blocked off. You can walk around freely holding beers. One of the few
ironically
times
in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
that you
one of
can
the few
do
times you
something
actually
like
get
that
away
in
with it.
Oklahoma. It was great. There were some really good bands. I saw the Defining Times, Bo Jennings, and the Tigers, and Allie Harder.
How was Allie Harder?
She was good. A lot more country than I remember. I think her style has changed quite a bit since.
She's been doing it a while, probably 10 years, right?
Probably, yeah. So it was good. Did you have anything like to say about the festival?
I just really want to brag on our state for really it's one of the few times Oklahoma's done a great job of cultivating the arts. I know it's probably self-propelled completely. You know, they say it scrapes by every year just to survive, but we're in year 6 or 7 at this point, and it's a very popular festival. It goes beyond just the college snobs who want to listen to music. It's actually bringing in kids and adults and grand folks and grandkids, and it's just bringing all walks of life and ethnicities of people just to hear this music and have a good time. And it's a blast. It's a really good time to go buy T-shirts and see pretty girls and listen to fun music. It's just an awesome place to be. And the weather was great, and got to see some really good bands. I really got to brag on the guys in Defining Times. They did such a remarkable job with their set. Early day slot, but they did they did the best they could possibly do with the type of environment they were given. They just sounded fantastic, and it's just a great place to be. It's a great place to go.
Unfortunately.
I would like to add that if you do plan on attending next year, make sure and bring cash.
Yep.
I was really wanting some nachos by the end of the day, and I waited in line for a good 15 to 20 minutes. Got up to get my. Actually, it was Frito chili pie. I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. And I got up to the line. I ordered my food. They handed it to me. I handed them my card, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we only take cash."
Yep.
So just FYI.
Did you beg?
No.
Did you like turn
I was
around to
okay,
everyone?
you can keep them, and then I walked off.
Oh.
So I didn't have cash.
We were my wife and I, Lilia. We went to the Norman Music Festival. We went there just to go see some friends play, but we were walking out and like, oh, let's get something to eat here. Let's get something to drink there. Oh, there's some rides over here. There's some friends over there. And every time we would try to leave, something would compel us to stay just for one more song, just for one more moment. On the way out, we heard a band called Boom Clap, where it was just weird electronic guitar drums mix. And I know that sounds like a mess to some people, but it was awesome. It was at the same time compelling and irritating while catchy and aggravating. I thought it was really, really interesting to hear a band that was just so odd and arty coming out of one of the most conservative states in the Union. And Norman is quickly, relatively speaking, turning into the Austin of Oklahoma. A very cool liberal town with a lot of really smart, creative people.
Oh, so I've got some music. I'm a sucker for guy-girl duos, vocals. And the Civil Wars just did the soundtrack to a movie. I can't remember what it was called. I just looked it up today on Spotify, and immediately started playing it. It's pretty happy. It's if you remember their last, or is it their first and only album so far from the Civil Wars? It's kind of a sad album a little bit, but for whatever mood the movie was trying to set, because I haven't seen it, I'm not sure. But
Well,
it's
they've
really
broken
good.
up, right?
It's very really
The Civil Wars released her self-titled
The
post-breakup
Civil Wars.
second album.
Did you say
Post-breakup.
broken out or broken up?
Broken up. Post-breakout.
That's
Post-break
appropriate.
up second album in late summer.
I had no idea.
Yep.
But anyway, that's really good. And second of all, there's a band called Hey Ocean, and it's this Canadian group who sing about nothing but the West Coast, and everything is boat metaphors, and it's awesome. No, it's very happy.
I'm sold.
It's great if you. It's
If you
it's
care if you
very
love
poppy.
boats.
But it's weird because it's like, these kids from Ontario or wherever, and the farthest thing from beach culture, from like California, Beach Boys sort of vibe, but they're very happy and sort of teenager road trip optimism. Just give them a whirl. They only have one album out
Yeah.
now.
Fantastic. The Civil Wars.
And Hey Ocean.
And Hey Ocean. Okay. Very cool.
Oh, there was also this unrelated to the Civil Wars. There's a band called Boards of Canada, kind of an electronic duo. I believe it's two brothers. It's been a while, 8 or 9 years, I think, since their last album, and they just announced that they're releasing a new album in June, and I'm pretty psyched for that.
What are they called?
Boards of Canada.
What's their
It's,
sound?
they're electronic, really kind of chill stuff. I don't know. Well,
Are they on Spotify?
yes, you should check them out if you enjoyed the song that we had on we'll call it the pilot episode. I mean, it's kind of in the same vein, but it's a little more chill than the Robot Orgy Massacre.
Okay.
But it's kind of like that. It's really good.
I'll
They're
definitely check them out.
pretty
yeah.
pretty popular for a while. But
You jogged something in my mind. You mentioned Spotify. It's like, is it on Spotify?
Yeah.
That's something
That's
I
my first
hear.
question.
Is it on Spotify? I have a buddy who's a recording engineer in New York, and I hang out with him once or twice a year. And his living is music. He makes his bread and butter off of music, and there's been a lot of legislation in Washington lately about how we reimburse the artists that actually develop this music, because programs like Spotify are fantastic for people who get access to new music. It's basically slowly becoming the preeminent way to get access to new music. One of the bigger stories to come out of Justin Timberlake's big success off the last record was, he sold over 900,000 copies, which is a rarity in the last 10 years because of the really serious plummet of the Billboard sales.
Mm-hmm.
And B, that he posted the entire record on Spotify before it came out. And he was the first serious major artist to do this type of maneuver as an advertising method. Now, are you guys, it sounds like you are already entrenched in the Spotify as a resource for music on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have physical or digital copies of music anymore. I just go through Spotify.
Okay, that's fantastic. So this is
Man.
like your Netflix of music now. This is
Yeah.
something. Now, are you
It's a
for the
perfect way to
paid
put it.
version of the
I don't
service?
pay for it either. No.
Okay,
It's
now
just-
are you doing the paid for version of the service?
there's really no reason to, unless you plan on using it on your phone.
Right.
But no, I don't.
And caching
I
it,
man,
yeah.
I love Spotify
Now I'm guessing you guys were probably into Pandora before that.
a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
What did I use before?
Last FM and Pandora were pretty much being groomed to be the next big way that we'd
My-
access music and radio, but Spotify came out of the blue and surprised a lot of people.
Spotify fixed what my problem was with Pandora. With Pandora, you pick a song and then they just kind of randomly.
Feed you stuff.
Yeah, I would prefer to just like pick a song and an album and go through the whole album.
Mhm.
That's how I like to listen to music. It's more of an experience for me like that.
I do like whenever a DJ thinks that I might like something, and they give you suggestions.
Yeah, that's
but
a person.
but this
though.
isn't a
that's a
DJ.
person,
Yeah.
and this is all about categories
An algorithm.
and algorithms, and it's not really, you're not getting the radio personality. You're not like somebody, for example, hypothetically, somebody says, oh, you like Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs? You're really going to love this by Queens of the Stone Age.
It's organic. Like you can't.
Yeah, you
make
can't
an
replicate that with any
equation
type of
it.
software. It has to be a person who has taste. And I think that's the biggest failing of things like Pandora and Last FM. And Spotify sidesteps it completely. I want
But-
this whole record. I want to listen to it, 3 times a month. And I can do it for free.
How does their getting money back to the artist? It's like every
Wait, what'd you
time someone
say?
plays a song, they get a fraction of a cent or something.
That's the thing. That's one of the things in Washington they were actually trying to discuss is how much they need to reimburse the artist for how many plays they get per month.
Ah.
And it's not something that is still in litigation. And for my friend Brian, who's like, we really like this model as musicians. We just really need to get paid for it. It's such a make or break situation for a company like Spotify. That's either they're rolling in success and they're becoming the next big thing, or legislation passes and they can't afford to pay artists and they shut down. They're on the cusp of either one or the other at all times.
What'd you say about 3 times a month?
Can't you play on Spotify? You can play a record if you put it on your playlist. The entire record you play it 3 times a month, I believe, before they start asking you to charge for it.
I don't think.
Am I mistaken
that's-
about that?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Because I know I've listened to the same song.
Well, I rarely do. My wife loves it. That's how she got a lot of her Latin music and stuff like that. I still use Pandora, but not on a regular basis.
Yeah, I never was. I use it occasionally, but not that often. I
Mhm.
guess not like I use Spotify. But as far as I know, it's unlimited.
Do you guys ever see yourselves paying for that service?
No.
Nope.
Only if I was ever.
If they took it away as a free model and they charged you $5 a month, is it worth that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If it completely went away, of course I'd pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, I would too.
You would? Is that ingrained in your
I
lifestyle?
use it every day.
It's better. Okay, if this were the Netflix for music, it's way better because it has everything.
Mhm.
Like I've never typed in an artist or an album, with the except maybe
Our
one
old
time.
band is on there.
On Spotify.
Yep.
If you have iTunes, it will pick up your
I'll
iTunes.
feed it off there.
Because I don't think it's on
I hope.
Spotify. What you're doing is that it adds your iTunes playlist to
Right.
the Spotify playlist.
Well,
It makes it all
hopefully you're right.
seamless.
Hopefully you're
across
right.
the line. But your question was, if they, tomorrow morning, $5. I don't want commercials. I better be getting 320
Tell it to people who
kilobyte
pay for
stream.
cable. Who doesn't want commercials with their
Oh,
Comedy
touche.
Central and their
Okay,
you're paying for that?
I pay for
Snap.
Hulu Plus,
Oh.
and they have commercials, and it doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like the commercials. It gives me a chance
Sure.
to go pee. Like honestly, like
So does a space bar.
Right?
I don't know. They don't bother me though. I think because I
I
have
think because
such a short attention span that it gives me a second to like get away from it and then come back to it.
I would
don't-
also second that. It doesn't bother you because you're not being over inundated with commercials the way you are on cable
Mhm.
with Hulu. You get 1 to 2 ads per break. 1. That's a big thing.
It's fair.
And 2, the shows that you are watching with Hulu ads are designed for that type of format. There's a break right before a commercial. There's a comic beat that hits and it picks right back up where it left off without being unaware that there was a pause in time there. These shows are written to be formatted that way. And so I can see how it would be really unobtrusive rather, to have Hulu with ads. Hulu is a fantastic service. It's what, $7 a month?
Yeah,
It's a
I
fantastic
think so.
service.
I just got a notification they're gonna cancel me because my credit card isn't-
Non-payment?
I don't know.
Eh,
Whatever. Hulu. I'm actually. Do either of you use Amazon Prime?
Yep.
I used to as a student because I got it for free.
Well, here's the thing for me. I'm just like a shill, but only reason I paid for it is because I always buy a lot of stuff through the mail, and they get free shipping on so much stuff that it's like I might as well get the free video service. But
You get a free video service.
Oh yeah, I
you
forgot
get free
about
delivery for if you pay for the delivery service, you get the free video service. Prime
If
just
you
gives you
wait. Explain that. If you pay for their delivery service.
okay. It costs. Let's say for example, you're buying something once a month on Amazon. You're paying probably $4 or $5 for shipping on whatever package you're getting. Right? You do that for 12 months. You're paying $60 a year on just shipping. Right?
Okay.
If you pony up the cash, another $15, I think, $75 total, for a year of Amazon Prime, You get free delivery on Amazon products for everything, almost everything. You get the video service, and you get like the MP3 service. That way, if I buy a physical copy of a record, like Coldplay's Milo, whatever. If I buy that CD, they will give me the entire MP3s for free.
Oh, I've been considering going over to Amazon Prime because they have a lot of
It's a fantastic service.
They have a lot of stuff that both Hulu and Netflix doesn't
Then you should do it. Try it for a month. But if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon like I do every month, it's a great service.
Well, I don't really, but
Jeez, Amazon should be sponsoring us.
I know. I'm being a shill, but it's a great service.
Get plugged, Amazon.
yeah, we are not getting sponsored for this, by the way.
Well, we're consumers of media. And
Get plugged is not associated with any Amazon or its affiliates.
That's quick. Well, anything else you guys want to mention? Any funny Oklahoma stories? Anything like that?
I just want to say I'm almost through season 2 of Game of Thrones, and that show is freaking awesome. I wish you would start watching it.
Dude, I'm looking forward to catching up on that series. I've been putting it off for a long time. I still have the first 3 episodes on my computer. I'm like, I just can't get into this yet. I just can't do it.
Oh, so NBC has a series about Hannibal. It's called Hannibal.
About to get canceled too.
And really?
Yep.
What?
Low ratings. It got like a 1.0 on the Nielsen rating system, which is lower than Community, which is a show I love.
Is it getting like bad reviews as well?
It's being very favorable. Most of NBC's shows are getting really favorable reviews all around, with the exception of what was it, Two Broke Girls or something like that.
Because I wanted to watch it. I love Hannibal's character.
Yeah, here it's a very compelling show, but I wouldn't get too emotionally invested into it. It looks like it's going to be another 15 episode runoff, and then
that sucks. Also, there's the local station in Salt Lake City that carries NBC is refusing to air it because they find it morally objectionable and that it's too violent and grisly or whatever. This is also the same station that won't air Saturday Night Live, so that'll give you an idea of like.
Well, you know what?
Thanks,
if they find that show reprehensible, fuck them. There's bigger things in the world to worry about than that shit. I'm about to say, then they probably aren't watching Dexter. The show's been around for almost 8 years. So
there's what network is it on? I think it's on Fox. There's a show that's starring Kevin Bacon. It's called The Following, and it's about a serial killer who centers all of his killings and his philosophy around Edgar Allan Poe, and started out really strong, and I think it actually just ended Monday. I have to watch the finale now, but I don't see how they're going to make a second season.
There's actual resolution to a serialized.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to end.
And that's interesting about a Western show to actually do that. It's been getting really well rated, I think. Critics have liked it quite a bit, but it's surprising that a Western show actually has a finale. It's something that's very much more associated with British television than American television.
It's not, from what I can tell. I mean, just tons of people are being killed off, and it looks like the final episode is just going to end with wrapping it all up and catching the bad guy, and good guys go home and whatever.
So again, it's not a Lost type thing where people are just
not at
stringing
all.
along.
I've never seen that before.
Lost?
No, not Lost. I
Lost.
watched Lost. Whenever the Boston bombings occurred, and this will make sense in a second, and FBI went door to door systematically. They locked down that area, and of course it didn't catch the kid right away, but it was just with the speed and precision that if you watch the news and it was happening, these these officers sweeping a neighborhood and locking down an entire city, and the city cooperated, and it all seemed to function as it was supposed to. In The Following, it's like there's sort of the same thing happening in it. This cult is running wild, and this town is being locked down. But the police, like the FBI in it, are so sloppy and stupid, and that would not have resonated with me if.
Just seeing these type of events happen.
I was like, the FBI would be all over that. Like, people would just sneak through roadblocks constantly in it. Like, how did they get from this point to this point, without a problem. And
But you've enjoyed the show overall.
yeah. Again, it doesn't seem like it's going to go more than one season, so.
But you know what?
can check it out.
If it's great, if it's one season, that's fantastic. I like stories that have resolution. It was a really fantastic show that came out of BBC. That again starred one of my favorite actors, Idris Elba, the guy from Prometheus, and now from the Guillermo film. What's it called? Pacific Rim. He did a show called Luther out of BBC. I think it's only 12 or 13 episodes long. It's on Netflix.
I've heard good things.
Fantastic show. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's a mixture of
It's like a
Hannibal
miniseries?
and it's written as a miniseries. The first season is 6 episodes, and then the next 2 episodes are really just a movie. It's been broken into 2 parts. The next 2 episodes of the movie is broken into 2 parts.
Cool.
And it's
That's
just a
on Netflix?
really, really compelling series. It's really smartly written. Another serial killer themed and serialized fiction story that's just so smartly written. And but it has an ending. It resolves. And I don't think people, when they get a good resolution, while they may want more, whenever they try to deliver more, you end up having 9 seasons of The Office where people start bitching about the
Right.
last 3 seasons, you know?
Just let it die.
Yeah.
Like,
Amen.
it should be written, like, shows should be written out before it's even.
You should have an ending in mind. Like,
Yeah.
When you get too close to it, then that means it's time.
Like Lost.
Don't even get me started. We don't want to go into that kind of shit for this
I know,
podcast.
but
Good God.
yeah.
Well,
That about does it for me.
Yeah.
So, if there's nothing else to be said, thank you for joining us. We've had fun, and if you want to catch me, you can find me at kinda sketchy on Twitter. That's kinda_sketchy. Eric, where can we find you?
you can, if you want to email me, the best way to get a hold of me really is johnericosborn@gmail.com. That's JOHNERICOSBORN. You can follow me on Twitter at John Eric Osborne at Twitter. I'm trying to think if anything else worth mentioning media wise I got coming up. I'm getting ready to finish a record with some friends right now. I'm getting ready to talk about that hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Really excited. And I'm getting ready for the comic book season. And in the fall, I'm going to talk about comic books a lot more. So brace yourselves. If you're a nerd, you're in luck. If you're not, I'm sorry.
Comic books.
I know. Get ready to get in the thick of it, man. Last thing I want to mention, Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, if you've not been reading this series and you're a comic fan in the slightest, read it. Something really, really weird happened for all you literary nerds and comic book nerds. Neil Gaiman, a really famous author, who got famous in the late 90s, early 90s for writing his comic book work like Sandman and Death, The High Cost of Living, got in a big fight with a very famous creator named Todd McFarlane.
Oh.
Around issue 9 of Todd McFarlane's very famous series Spawn, a character was introduced named Angela, an angel who was in opposition to Spawn, who was a hell creature. Todd McFarlane and Neil Gaiman wrote the story of Angela together. Well, they got in a big legal battle, and almost 20 years later, this legal battle gets resolved. And Neil Gaiman was given full ownership of this character he created in an Image comic almost 20 years ago. And Neil Gaiman, is taking his character to Marvel and is putting him on the team Guardians of the Galaxy. Very, very strange. I know it's only in comic books kind of story.
Whoa.
But you have one of the most famous literary authors of the last 20 years taking one of his creations from an independent comic and throwing it in Marvel's continuity. It's a very interesting read. And this is the same team that has Tony Stark and Star-Lord and all these really great, compelling characters. And now you have a creature from heaven in a metal bikini.
That's crazy. I did not know
It's
about
very.
this.
I mean, there's legalities with the Schusters and Bob Kane, and it always ends up favoring the creators. And Neil Gaiman actually won his case, and he owns the character. And he's taking it to a completely different universe. So it's not too far fetched to see an Image character created in the late early '90s end up in a major Marvel feature film. It could happen.
I would go into the whole Wildstorm Productions now being part of DC, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry to derail it. We're trying to close up shop. John Eric Osborne and
Oh yeah, I'm Wes Gedeen at Twitter, I guess. How does that go? Follow me on Twitter. I'm Wes Gedeen, I guess.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, that's WHESKEYDEAN. All one word, all lowercase. Follow me on Twitter.
I guess I might as well. You can catch me. You can shoot me an email at Gmail if you like. I'm at John Benson 2012. It's all one word. It's JON BENSON. And yeah, at Gmail. That about wraps it up.
Au revoir.
Don't email me.
Be good.
And I'm back. Actually, I just wanted to say thank you to Robot Orgy Massacre, or ROM, for letting us use some music at the beginning of the podcast and during the intermission. You can actually check them out at Reverb Nation. Just go to www.reverbnation.com/Robot Orgy Massacre, all one word. Check them out. They're really good. They've got some good stuff on there, and they make most of their music using Game Boys. So check that out. And I'm going to play a song for you to kind of play out the podcast. This is a song by a band called Kite Flying Robot. And you can find a free download of the song that you're about to hear on kiteflyingrobot.bandcamp.com. Check this song out. It's super awesome. And thank you to Nick for letting us use it. Anyway, enjoy.
When I found you listless, burning all your bridges, how many lives had you fled? Every mood was a missile, you load into a pistol, you put it to my head. I got 99 problems, 101 Dalmatians, 39 steps and 808 vibrations. But you murdered me here, yeah, you murdered me here, yeah, you murdered me here, yeah, you murdered me here. If you're a criminal, baby, super vixen on a roll, and I'm a part of your crime spree on a mission, let it go right now. Honey, let it go right now. You left it in the night for Western City lights to find fancier scams. I'm not gonna chase you down in California, not gonna cancel my plans. I got 99 problems, 101 Dalmatians, 39 steps and 808 vibrations. Come and get it right here, you're gonna get it right here. Come and get it right here, you're gonna get it right here now. If you're a criminal, baby, super vixen on a roll, and I'm a part of your crime spree on a mission, let it go right now. Honey, let it go right now. It's an eye for an eye for an eye, so wrong. You always said that you were strong, but this tooth for a tooth for a tooth knows that